day everyone, Dauntus here. Pocketpair is at it again with a major patch update today being released Tuesday, February 27th of 2024, and it is going to be called Steam Update Patch version 0.1.5.0. In today's patch, they implemented several major fixes, including changes with bugs itself, save data, guild implications, pals, and the one that everybody really had their eye on were base issues in AI pathing. So you guys are going to be really excited to hear some of the stuff that they've changed, and let's go ahead and dig right into it. In terms of major fixes, they implemented a backup of the save data on the world selection screen. So if for whatever reason your world ends up being corrupted, you should have an extra out and an extra layer of protection. This way you have kind of an additional backup plan. They also resolved an issue of unnecessary data accumulating in the save data itself. I don't know if this is what I've been experiencing, but sometimes I'll like log into my world and I'll notice that the game just juts down to like 10 frames per second for about 30 seconds to a minute before it eventually kind of catches up and then goes back up to like 90 or 120 FPS. The next thing they addressed is the key configuration. So what they did is they actually added fully supported keyboard key configuration. And I think what this means is that if you guys are using a mouse or a keyboard, and if you started at initially you weren't able to use like keybinds on your mouse, or there were certain functions on your keyboard that actually wouldn't be able to be integrated into the game, it looks like they've addressed that. So if you guys have like crazy keyboards, you should be able to use all the keybinds that you want to while you're playing the game. In terms of guild changes, they modified specification to allow guild members to be removed when they're not logged in. I guess there was an issue where if your guild member wasn't logged in, you couldn't actually boot them from the guild. So that's a way to preserve your spot just by never playing. So I'm glad they fixed that. In terms of player issues, this one's actually huge. They changed the long press operation during player tasks to allow for continuous work by pressing the work button only once. And you can actually change this in your settings. So if you guys didn't know, if you're like collecting wheat, or if you're watering something, or if you're assisting in cooking, you would have to sit there and hold like F on your keyboard or X on your Xbox controller forever, and you can't take it off or else you're going to stop cooking. So with this implementation, you can go into your settings and you can change it to where it's a continuous work option. So if you wanted to, you could just go up to the cooking stove and just press F once or X once and walk away, and it will just do the action indefinitely. So this is a wonderful fix. Thank you guys so much for doing it. They also fixed an issue where if you were riding a mount in a prohibited area, it would not result in a crime. So you guys could like get on your flying mounts, fly into one of those prohibited sanctuary habitats and catch rare pals. And as long as you stayed on your pal, you actually wouldn't accrue crime. They also improved interaction accuracy with adjacent objects. So if you've got items that are close in your base, you're not going to look at your stove trying to cook something and end up, creating a sphere because your sphere production line is 10 feet to your left. So I'm glad they fixed this as well. Next up, they implemented some changes for the pals themselves. They changed specifications so that when a PAL is instructed to attack aggressively, the PAL will actually attack enemies indiscriminately, even if they are not in combat. So if you interact with your PAL and select it to attack aggressively and just walk around, it's going to decimate anything in his path. They also corrected an issue where they allowed PALs of rank 1 or higher to be selected as concentrated materials, and they said that higher ranked PALs yield more points when concentrated. So if you have PALs that you have condensed and you end up really not needing them, or maybe you bred another PAL that's better and you already invested in another one, you can then take those PALs that you invested in and invest them into your new one that has better stats, and you're not going to have lost all the previously condensed PALs. This next fix is actually very good to see. They fixed a bug where a large amount of experience points gained while increasing your PAL to level 50 would cause the PAL to not learn any active skills. So very practically speaking here, I spent days and days and days to breed a Shadowbeak that was perfect, and as soon as I got the one that I wanted, I cranked up the experience to the max because I was so excited to get it to level 50. I killed a boss and got it to level 50, and then I went into its active skills and it didn't know any active skills. It couldn't actually learn Divine Disaster, which is its best ability. And I was livid to say the least because it took me so long to breed it, and now they have fixed that. So if you guys do have your experience cranked up and you do get your pals to level 50 immediately, they should now be able to learn the active skills. So this is very good to see. I'm very happy that they changed this quickly. They also mitigated an issue where using Masanda's partner skill, Grenadier Panda, on a dungeon boss would cause the boss to get stuck in the walls. The next area of fixes are surrounding base issues. So this is what most of you guys are going to be very, very happy to hear. They fixed an issue where base pals would get stuck on top of the logging site, etc. So if you logged in and you made my main base that I showed you in one of my most popular videos, Yorwentide and Yorwentide Ignis would literally just be flying above the logging site, not doing anything. They've also added measures to prevent the issue where base pals would wander around and get stuck at the border of the base area. Also amazing to see. Sometimes they would just go behind the breeding pen and just get stuck on the blue line and just do nothing. So it looks like they have implemented measures to fix that. So the AI pathing is now much better. They have also fixed an issue where pals at the base would get stuck repeatedly starting transportation tasks, and the light bulbs icon would appear over and over again. They also added measures to prevent the issue of base pals getting stuck in the farm on a roof. Additionally, they fixed an issue where work pals would get stuck in the summon space of Palbox when restarting the server on a dedicated server. So now your pals should resume activity as intended. They also adjusted the default work priority of base pals, and they put as an example, Anubis will prioritize manual labor. They also significantly relaxed building restrictions for stairs and triangular roofs. This is just generally a really, really good fix to help everybody who's maybe more of a novice builder, and it's going to make it easier for you guys to get the result that you want with your base without having to know all the ins and outs and crazy tricks when it comes to building. They fixed an issue where sound would play in an infinite loop when pals at the base use certain active skills. Specifications also changed so that all changes in environmental temperature are actually added up. So for example, if you put like 4 campfires next to each other, it's not just going to be like there's one campfire. It said that it's going to be like the area surrounding those 4 campfires will have the temperature of a volcano. So those of you guys that have campfires all over your base, be careful because you're probably going to get burned. Additionally, they implemented a relax function for the working style while you're on the monitoring stand. Next up, they talk about some balance adjustments. So what they've done is they've significantly strengthened mining power for Digtoy's partner skills. Looks like somebody saw my last video where I was just totally railing on Digtoys, so much so that my video actually got demonetized. I'm not kidding. And it looks like they've responded by actually making Digtoys good again. So all you Digtoys fans, you have had your vengeance. Congrats. They also fixed the abnormally high selling price of nails. If you guys didn't know, people were becoming millionaires in the game just by creating and then selling nails. It was actually kind of insane. I have a bunch stockpiled here that I didn't sell, so I'm kind of sad, but it's okay. I'll get over it. They also significantly increased the number of police officers who appear when a crime is committed. They added the electric shock effect to Free Pal Alliance crossbow. They adjusted the flight distance of Sphere Launcher and Scatter Sphere Launcher. And finally, in terms of balance adjustments, they have increased the sanity value recovery amount of high quality springs. This is good to see because I felt like there wasn't really a difference between using the medium spring and the high spring, and now your bases should run much, much smoother if you do have the high quality hot springs. Next up is network related. They have renovated the server lobby. The search by server name will now actually work. They have added the ability to view online players on a dedicated server, and on community servers, this will also be displayed if the setting is enabled. And finally, a couple of other quick fixes. They fixed the issue where day 5 memo was not placed. You can now adjust the in-game brightness in the settings. They fixed many other minor bugs. They corrected various incorrect texts. And lastly, they improved measures against cheating. At the end of this post, Pocketpair has stated that we will continue development, placing top priority on fixing major problems and issues. Thank you for your continued support of Palworld. I think I could speak for everybody when I say, Pocketpair, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much for paying attention to the important issues and actually addressing them. I mean, most of the reason why people are stopping the game is because they're just frankly frustrated. Like, we understand that this is a pre-release game and it's still good enough for some of us to binge for days and days and days. But ultimately, when it comes to base issues and all the stuff that we're working so hard to build and set up, it's a little bit frustrating when you spend so much time building a base and catching the pals and breeding the right pals and they don't actually work. So the fact that you guys are actually taking time to listen to the feedback and to provide solutions for the biggest pain points of the community, guys, it goes a long way. So your efforts are very appreciated. We see how hard you guys are working, and we just want to thank you so much for all of your efforts. If you guys are excited for the future of this game, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have a good day.